From Bloomberg World Headquarters in Midtown Manhattan, this is Bloomberg Markets. I'm Scarlet Fu. Commodity markets are closing in New York. Let's get your check of how oil is faring, advancing 0.5%. This is WTI, of course, at 53.39. This is after a government report showed that U.S. crude inventories rose to the highest levels in weekly data going all the way back to 1982. Of course, when you look at oil, it's been holding above $50 a barrel since OPEC and other non-OPEC nations began trimming their supply on January 1st, and it still remains stuck in that low to mid-50 range. As for coffee futures, they're rising for a second straight day, trading at their highest in more than 2 weeks after Brazil cut its import tax on Robusta. Arabica up, you can see, by 1%. And gold is climbing for a second day. Investors are turning to the safe haven as the possibility of a Fed rate hike increases. Let's get you a check of the headlines on the Bloomberg First Word News at this hour. Mark Crumpton has more. Mark?
Country on national security here as it pertains to the Russia situation. He said again that current investigations into his staff right now. Seemed like such a cool product. It seemed pretty flashy at the time, but now 5 years in, 5 generations in rather, still not so popular.
Mark, to what extent is this a lack of talent? They don't have the right people helming this part of the business.
Popular product, and I feel like there's just they haven't really been able to find their niche, right? Like I've got an LG Smart TV, it works fine. Even this is Bloomberg Markets. I'm Oliver Rennick.
And I'm Scarlet Fu. President Donald Trump, have you ever seen a news conference like what we just experienced in the past hour? What was the common thread? What was your main takeaway from what we heard from the president?
Well,
who would ask the next question?
He said multiple times he loves doing this.
Yeah, and he looked the part. Marty, how is this chaos?
In terms of, we've now obviously had 2 people appointees that didn't quite for him getting his nominees in there.
He's apt.
Meantime, let's show you our deep dives into our charts right now. I'm focusing on how President Trump has cited the stock market's record high as an indication of his achievements, of his accomplishments. So this is the S&P 500 since 1990. And what we've done here is, we haven't seen that since President Clinton.
Still nothing. The 90s were a pretty incredible time for the stock market. All right, I'm looking at some surges usually happen after recessions. Now this is one that's happening several years after the recession, so we'll see if it has the same effect.
That's interesting. I mean, what special instance caused this spike up, right?
One day.
Okay.
What happened in the last few months?
The market close is next. Let's take a look at the... I'm Scarlet Fu.
And I'm Joe Weisenthal. If you're tuning in live on Twitter, we want to welcome you to our
today's Market Minutes. All right, let's take a deep dive now into the Bloomberg. You can find the chart using the function at the bottom of the screen. And I wanted to explore this idea of the disconnect between political uncertainty and the bullish conviction that we see in markets. And equity, certainly, with the S&P, Dow, and U.S. GDP this year at risk. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. All right, let's look at another factor that's interesting, and that is the amount of oil supplies. And so there's all this interest in getting the oil market into balance. We have a chart showing oil total supplies. Do we have that chart? One moment. Sorry, I'm trying to pull the hashtag.
This is live TV, everyone. This is what happens. It's a Viz chart, right? No? Okay, hold on.
All right, well, anyway,
we'll
it doesn't
pull it up
really
later.
matter. Anyway, we know that it's the market is incredibly stable. You know, there's an increase in supplies that we're seeing. We're seeing all these bullish bets, and yet remarkable
topic. Alex, let me start with you because Snap is now looking for a market value that's anywhere from $5 billion to $15 billion less than what it had planned a month ago. So circumstances have changed a bit here. What'd you miss? The Bloomberg Sports Summit brought together the industry's biggest deal makers to discuss the money behind the game. I sat down this week with the commissioner of the NHL, National Hockey League, Gary Bettman. I began by asking him about the holdup on whether NHL players will participate in the 2018 Olympics in Korea. The players would argue the best way to do that is to do it on the international, specifically because of injury.
Because
everyone knows that Alexander Ovechkin is of the Washington Capitals. Okay. Now, you have said to me several times that hockey fans are the most affluent, highly educated demographic in all sports.
And most tech.